Hello and thank you for joining us right here on Luntha Television. It's time for news. Enjoy with me, Jacqueline Said. First, the headlines. Pope Francis emphasizes the need for promoting the dignity and inclusion of persons with disabilities. Parliament fails to agree on banking bill. Ministry of Lands hopes for an improved economy through water bodies. And in other news, flash flood kills 9 at church gathering in South Africa. We have these and more. Stay with us. Pope Francis welcomed a group of disabled people on the occasion of the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. In his address in an audience with the group, the Pope emphasized the need to promoting the dignity and inclusion of all, which he said fulfills the Church's prophetic mission. He further indicated that generating and supporting inclusive communities means eliminating all discrimination and concretely satisfying the need of every person to feel recognized and to feel part of them. We have a Vatican News report being read by Tandiwe Mzumara.
The Pope started his address by expressing appreciation for the ongoing commitment of church communities in Italy to keeping their attention focused on disabled people, noting that promoting recognition of the dignity of every person is a constant responsibility of the Church. He recalled that this was God's gaze on the people he met, a gaze of tenderness and mercy above all for those who were excluded. He indicated that for this reason, every time the Christian community transforms indifference into proximity and exclusion into belonging, it fulfills its prophetic mission. Bringing his address to an end, Pope Francis therefore expressed his wish that belonging and inclusion become an objective of ordinary pastoral action and not just empty words, saying in this way we all will be able to be credible when we proclaim that the Lord loves everyone, that he is salvation for everyone and invites everyone to the table of life without excluding anyone. The Pope then encouraged Christian communities in their work for people with disabilities, saying their testimony is a concrete sign of peace and hope for a humane and fraternal world in these times of war. The International Day of Persons with Disability was established by the UN in 1992 to promote an understanding of disability issues and mobilize support for the dignity, rights and well-being of persons with disabilities. The theme chosen for 2022 is Transformative Solutions for Inclusive Development, the role of innovation in fueling an accessible and equitable world with a focus on 3 aspects: employment, reducing inequality, and development.
SEED Global Health has called on government and other private sectors to invest in the health profession by creating more jobs for doctors and nurses to help in smooth service delivery in the country's hospitals and clinics. This has been said by the country director of SEED Global Health, Tuwange Moyo, realizing that doctors and nurses receive proper training but continue to struggle to get employed. And according to the Minister of Health, Honorable Kumbize Kandadu Chiponda, there is need for government and other sectors to invest in the health sector if Malawi is to realize its goal of having all trained doctors and nurses into practices in various hospitals and health centers. Agnafe Piri has the details in this report.
To help achieve universal health coverage, SEED Global Health invests in health professionals that can provide crucial services to Malawians. According to the country director of SEED Global Health, Tuwange Moyo, their organization is also improving clinical practice among students that are being trained in various institutions in order to build capacity. But realizing that a good number of trained doctors and nurses are left unemployed despite receiving
the challenge, but also to keep up the motivation of health workers working in this institution, in health facilities. They need to be motivated, they need to be acknowledged in what they do, because what they are offering as health services is really offering honorable, they're doing honorable work.
In her remarks, Minister of Health, Kumbizia Kandodo Chiponda, echoed that apart from equipping health workers with training and mentorship, there is need for government and other sectors to invest in the health sector as one way of ensuring that hospitals have necessary diagnostic tools.
We still acknowledge that we still have challenges in terms of supply chain, in terms of issue of the health workforce. We still have a vacancy rate, a high vacancy rate, I should say. In most of our districts, we only have filled positions of about 50%. So those are the challenges which, as a ministry, we are working on. And that is why when you have a partner like Seed Global Health, which has assisted us in even recruiting more people in the system, we are very, very grateful for that.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Health has said the ministry has made strides in managing HIV and AIDS, improving family health, including the mother-to-child transmission and tuberculosis in the country. Reporting for Luntha News, this is Alinafe Perry.
The Association of Women in Religious Institute of Malawi, AREM's SCORE Early Childhood Development Project has revealed that the high rate of unemployment in Malawi is hitting young married couples hard, fueling the tendency of men's illegal migration. A recent report on Chewu district proves that the tendency is resulting to divorce as a solution. As Albert Gadanda was in Chewu reports, this renders women helpless as they raise their children alone. Albert Gadanda with the details.
A recent visit by Association of Women in Religious Institute of Malawi, Catholic Relief Services officials in Chewu has unearthed that over 70% of men in the area of traditional Authority Ghana migrate to South Africa to wrinkle for greener pasture, a development that in return muffled mother-headed families. AREM is implementing SCORE Early Childhood Development Project, which aims at enhancing smooth growth of children in rural areas and male involvement in child development. In Chewu, the project is being implemented by Carmelite sisters at Ghana Health Center. In an interview on Thursday, Chewu SCORE ECD Space Coordinator Sister Frolida Gundasi said most men that fathered children in the area are either in South Africa or at the lake shore to practice fishing. She said this has caused lack of men's participation in the project.
A lot of men here, this side, especially here at the Ghana area, I've seen that the men, they are flocking to South Africa in order to get for the green pasture. And also some of them are also rushing to the lake for fishing. The project has been affected because for the family to run well, it needs both of them, a man and also a woman.
In a separate interview, Group Village Matoto, in whose area the project is being implemented, said they are working hand in hand with various organizations to create awareness on ECD. SCORE ECD Space Project commenced in 2020 in Balaka, Nkhotakota, Mzimba, and Chiladzulo. Its third phase, however, added 3 districts of Chewu, Dedza, Chikwawa, and Msanje. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, I'm Helbert Katanda.
Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development has expressed optimism that investing in water bodies has a potential of improving the country's economic status. Deputy Minister of Lands, Dios Kumba, said conducting hydrographic surveys on water bodies is key to realize all possible sites where experts can utilize for tourism and other exploration for economic growth. He was speaking today in Lilongwe at the start of a 2-day meeting on Africa Great Lakes and Rivers Hydrographic Survey, which aims at sharing best practices regarding water bodies. Bernard Wanza reports.
The African Great Lakes and Rivers Sub-Working Group is a subcommittee of the Southern African Islands Hydrographic Commission with an objective of promoting hydrography in the African Great Lakes and rivers for sustainable development and use of navigable inland waters in the region. At the start of a two-day meeting in Longwe, where delegates from Kenya, Mozambique, Tanzania, Uganda, Malawi and United Kingdom are discussing on how best to conduct hydrographic surveys, Deputy Minister of Lands Dausi Gomba said there is a need for a special expertise for countries to know the existence of islands which may be of tourist attraction in these water bodies, which may therefore contribute to the economic development, and that Malawi is ready to utilize the data that will be given at the end of the survey.
We see we've always been relying on agriculture, but perhaps agriculture in terms of tobacco is perhaps something that is now the economy is declining in terms of tobacco sales. So obviously we have to explore new areas on how we can generate revenue. And one of the areas is to discover the blue economy. What is it that our lakes, our water bodies have?
On his part, Tim Lewis, who heads the partnering and engagement in the Middle East and Africa, said the meeting will help the stakeholders to maximize availability of resources that are said to be scarce at the meantime.
Traditionally, collection was done purely for safety of navigation, but now we need to think about economic sustainability and growth, the environmental protection and national security, and different ministries can use that data for the same different purposes, but collecting it once.
It is reported that 40% of Lake Malawi has been surveyed and charts have been produced with a call to do surveys in the whole lake and major rivers, and that geospatial information covering all major water bodies should be made readily available if the country is to maximize benefits from the blue economy. Meanwhile, the minister has committed to lobby for resources through Minister of Finance in order for the Department of Survey to achieve the cause. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, I am Bernard Manza.
Remember, you're still watching news on Luntha Television. Now a reminder of the headlines. Pope Francis emphasizes the need for promoting the dignity and inclusion of persons with disabilities. Parliament fails to agree on banking bill. So that persons with disabilities can participate fully in different activities that can uplift their living standards without challenges. And Kalima said barriers to full social and economic inclusion of persons with disabilities are among other inaccessible physical environments and transportation and the unavailability of assistive devices and technologies. Charity Chiranga has won this report.
The United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, CRPD, promotes the full integration of persons with disabilities in societies. The CRPD specifically references the importance of international development in addressing the rights of persons with disabilities. Persons with disability contribute to a significant number in the population but are still facing challenges to access basic services. According to the Executive Director of Forum for the Development of Youth with Disabilities, FDYD Rex Kalima, disability increases the risk of poverty, as having disability or being disabled is very difficult to be successful in business or everything else. He said business involves moving up and down, which means for a person with disability to engage in business, there is need to rely on somebody to help or assist to achieve what the person wants to do. Adding that Malawi needs to be accessible as a country so that people with disabilities can access basic goods and services.
You be somebody who are very good of money when you're poor, because when you are disabled, chances of you to go far further school are difficult, because most of the time persons with disability graduate from school. Even again to business. If you want to do business, that means you have to move up and down. You always require somebody to help you or else to assist you in business in order to achieve
Kalima further said giving companies that employ a good number of persons with disability a certain percentage of tax-free or not paying any tax can motivate other companies to employ persons with disability. And this can help to include persons with disability and expand their equitable opportunities. Reporting for Luntha Television News in Lilongwe, this is Charity Chilanga.
A stormy debate ensued in Parliament today as government legislators grew cold feet on whether or not to adopt a report on banking amendment bill with proposed changes by the Budget and Finance Committee of the House. The report, which was read for the second time in the House by the committee's chairperson, Gladys Ganda, among others, proposes a deletion of 10 clauses. Among them is the clause that allows registrar of the companies to act above courts acquisitions. Legislators from the government side wants the clause maintained as it stands, while opposition parliamentarians are of the view that the clause be removed. We have a report by Hilbert Katanda.
Among others, the bill gives power to the Registrar of Financial Institutions to facilitate mandatory recapitalization of failing banks, carry out a purchase and acquisition transaction involving the transfer of assets and liabilities of a failed bank without requiring prior approval of shareholders. During the deliberations after the second reading of the Banking Amendment Bill, opposition members of Parliament argued that some clauses would scare away potential investors. Mulanje Bale legislator Victor Musoa argued that the clause was criminal as it gives safety powers to the registrar of companies. The debate comes at a time social media is floating with reports that Tonsi government officials are banging heads to find a crooked way to snatch FDH Bank from Tom Pingajira. Rompi East legislator Kamlepo Kalua had earlier argued that the court's decision is final, hence registrar should not interfere. The House, however, went into votes and the opposition managed to block the bill with 84 votes against 73. In an interview, Ganda said the amendments were necessary as some clauses are conflicting in nature.
The bill is proposing that even if something goes to court and the shareholder, for example, has got an issue in the court and he's been acquitted by the court, even if the courts acquit the shareholder, the law is proposing that still Reserve Bank is above that acquittal by the court. So we're saying that is unconstitutional, because if the courts say that the shareholder is acquitted, there's nothing wrong that he did. Obviously, it means everything else that was removed from him or from her should be given back to her. But the registrar is saying, no, I still have to make a decision on that one. What I was saying is the registrar above the Constitution. Some people are saying no. So you see that the Budget and Finance Committee, I must say, they came up with a very good report.
The Bill Banking Act Amendment Bill of 2022 was referred to the Finance Committee with the main opposition Democratic Progressive Party in August this year, fearing it might scare investors. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, I'm Hilbert Katanda.
Montfort Media Publications Limited has launched 2 books. The books, which are centered on good governance and tales of leadership, titled Beyond the Good Intentions and Chipateni and Other Unsung Songs, have been written by Dr. Mzee Herman Mvula and Dr. Levi Zeleza Manda, respectively. The guest of honor at the launch, Associate Professor Gardon Kanchezera from the University of Malawi, Chancellor College, said that these books are a must-read by the leaders of the nation, otherwise the next generation shall read about their bad leadership skills. Rashida Matandika reports.
One of the authors, Dr. Mzee Herman Mvula, said he wrote his book Beyond Good Intentions as a continuation of the 1992 Catholic Bishop's pastoral letter, which had the bishop's wishes for a good governance. He said he was inspired by the bishop's hunger for justice and decided to put it down in writing so that leaders might grab some tips. Dr. Mvula believes that the Bible and today's lives have the same values, as human beings are both political and religion animals, hence the two must go together.
In fact, politics and religion cannot be separated. If you go through, there are different people who have written about this, but these things cannot be separated. In fact, Aristotle, one of the great Greek philosophers of the BCs, defined man as a political animal. At the same time, man, wherever they are religious animals, or they are religious beings. So these two things cannot be separated. We are actually being religious even in as much as we are being political.
The guest of honor at the launch, Professor Gaton Kanchedzela, said the books and the authors are lights of the world, which can guide people's decisions.
As I was saying in my speech, writers, authors, and books are lights. They shine a light in society. When you read a book, you see some things that you didn't see before. You get a perspective that maybe you were not holding to. And these people have come forward to work and be the providers of lights, which can then make us come to decisions that are better informed, and also we can make decisions that we know the consequences that might likely to happen.
Montfort Media's managing director, Father Pijojo Gamba, said as a publisher, they decided to support the publication and the launch of the books as they continue to support democracy in Malawi.
Yes, it was just a few days ago. There was the report on the newspaper, especially in Chichewa, was so painful. When they report about the Anti-Corruption Bureau saying, and actually saying that who is finally the mind, the behind all our Cash Gate, all our Maize Gate, they are educated people. They were mentioning Chancellor College as being somehow at the root of the corruption that has taken up democracy. Yes, you can cry and say, but this is not what we prepared our students for. And yet, how come that is the knowledge, is the know-how, is the training that is making our people part of the corruption in Malawi? After so many years, our is a question that we don't pretend to have an answer ourselves. For us, yes, democracy is better than anything.
The two books, Beyond Good Intentions and Chipateni and Other Unsung Songs, are complementing each other in a way to enhance the relationship that humans have in a society, as well as the system that governs them. And according to the authors, this generation needs to go back to the reading culture, for in books there is wisdom. Beyond the Good Intentions is selling at 10,000 kwacha, while Chipateni and Other Unsung Songs is going at 6,000 kwacha at Montfort Media bookshops across Malawi. For Luntha TV, this is Rashida Matantika reporting.
A Catholic priest come musician Father Augustine Galiu of Lilongwe Archdiocese on Sunday lighted up a Grail complex in Lilongwe with an extraordinary performance that left the audience asking for more. The Peach hosted Galiu's fifth album launch titled Patozo, a Chichewa word which means God is great. The album has a collection of 13 tracks, and they have randomly been cooked by various producers including Apex, Jonathan Pofera, Chance, and Austin Cabao. Helbert Katanda reports.
The 13-track album, which comes 3 years after his fourth album, features great hits such as Tio Mwambani, Kuzyomera, and Patozo, among other great tracks that feature prominently on the album and already enjoying a great deal of downloads and airplay on various platforms. In an interview after the launch, Father Kaliu said the album intends to preach the gospel to both local and international fans. He said the Ndimlongo Sounds Band wants to raise funds to pay school fees for needy students.
So it was an opportunity for us to preach, to proclaim the good news, to remind everyone that no matter the circumstances in our lives, remember that always God is great. And remember that part of the process of today, we want to preach in another way through education, whereby we want to assist both the boy and the girl child who are needed, beginning with the rural areas. So we really want to reach out to almost everyone that whatever the amount they can give us, whatever help they are going to give us, we are going also to assist the needy.
Kaliu's launch saw the support of the jamming machine, Skefa Jimoto, Lulu, and St. Ignatius Catholic Choir, among others. The album first huge sums during auction, and topping the list was Monsignor Patrick Tawale, who bought the album at 200,000 kwacha. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, I'm Helbert Katanda.
In sports news, Malawian teams that are participating in different sporting codes at this year's African Union Sports Council Region 5 Youth Games have so far produced mixed results. In football, the Junior Flames have qualified for the semi-finals following a 2-2 draw against Botswana on the opening day that was followed by a 2-1 victory over Namibia on Sunday. In netball, Malawi lost their opening match against South Africa yesterday but bounced back today as they narrowly defeated Namibia. King Major Kamwindo with the details.
Webistan Zunda's red strike at the 3rd minute fired Malawi under-17 national football team into the semi-finals of the OSC Region 5 Youth Games COSAFA following yesterday's 2-1 win over Namibia. The victory took Malawi to 4 points in Group A from 2 games and ensured them to finish in top 2 with either Botswana or Namibia, who had to slug it out for the other semi-final slot on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Malawi netball team defeated Namibia for the 2 baskets to 39 to avoid an early exit from the tournament after they lost their opening game on Sunday. Speaking after today's game, Diana Nkulambe, who is Netball Association of Malawi Vice General Secretary, said the margin against Namibia was small as the girls at first were underestimating their opponents.
I would want to commend the girls. They really put in a lot of effort. Of course, the way we started very well, and then at some point we were like chickening out, and that paved way for Namibia to exceed us. But at the end of the day, we made it, and I would want to say congratulations to the ladies. They put in a lot of effort, and we are looking forward to, because Namibia, we thought would win with maybe a great margin, but we were underestimating them. But we've learned that it's not good to underestimate. They gave us a good run. I can see a lot of potential in our young girls, and as you can see that I think in terms of height we are disadvantaged, as you saw from yesterday's game against South Africa. I think we didn't have any height that matched our colleagues in South Africa team, but as short as they were able to jump. So to me, that's a positive development. We have indeed potential. You can be tall, but if you don't jump in any game, it will not make any impact.
The Junior Queens will play against Zimbabwe on Tuesday before they face Zambia on Wednesday and wind up against Botswana on Thursday. For Luntha News, this is King Major Kamwindo.
Lastly, in international news, at least 9 people have died while 8 others are missing in South Africa after a flash flood swept away members of a church congregation along the Juskei River in Johannesburg on Sunday. The dead and missing were all part of the congregation, which was conducting religious rites along the river on Saturday, officials said. Rescue workers reported finding the bodies of 2 victims that day and another 7 bodies when the search and recovery mission resumed on Sunday morning. The teams were interviewing people from the congregation to establish how many others were unaccounted for. Religious groups frequently gather along the Juxkei River, which runs past townships such as Alexandra in the east of Johannesburg, for baptism and rites of cleansing. Well, that is all I had for you for now. But before we go, another look at the headlines. Pope Francis emphasizes the need for promoting the dignity and inclusion of persons with disabilities. Parliament fails to agree on banking bill. Ministry of Lands hopes for an improved economy through water bodies. And in other news, flash flood kills 9 at church gathering in South Africa. My name is Jacqueline Saidi. Thank you very much for watching Luntha television, and stay safe.